Hey guys, so I'm back from my long weekend and it went pretty good. I got caught on the rain a few times, but it wasn't that bad, honestly. Cold, very cold, but hey, it is what it is. Anyways, I made sure that I had videos prepared for every day that I was gone. Yeah, it took me a lot of work because these videos do take some effort, at least a lot of time, and well, ever since Wednesday, the day before, or technically the day that I did leave for my trip, like I've gotten less than 20 views on every single one of my videos. YouTube is so dumb sometimes, because it's not like anything I did really changed for those videos. I was still like talking about the normal kind of stuff that people generally like. It's just YouTube doesn't want to recommend my videos anywhere. And it is absolutely crushed in the algorithm. But hey, it is what it is. It's just absolutely frustrating when I'm talking about modern events for once instead of like old internet drama. That like YouTube just decides it doesn't like it anymore. It's whatever. But I guess a lot of what people like from me is more like theory crafting, or maybe just like, again, talking about internet drama, which isn't terrible. It's just, not the only thing I want to be talking about. For instance, I'm talking about like Maduro and how like the Democrats were defending him. Democrats were just so upset that Trump took down a dictator. And it's completely and utterly stupid. Or talking about fraud that's going on all across the country, mostly in Minnesota. And yeah, I can understand why left-wing YouTube wouldn't like that kind of content, but it's not like there isn't a bunch of right-wing commentators that talk about it who aren't like delisted from the internet, basically. So I don't know exactly what's going on. Maybe I just said like frickin' the mid-century German word one too many times and the algorithm just absolutely hates that. I don't know, man. It's just stupid. It's real dumb. It is real dumb. Makes it like kind of demoralizing to try to get into this stuff when like you make sure you release a video every single day, and then whether or not it gets 10 views or 10,000 views seems to be completely based on chance. And again, I got a bunch of people that I send my videos to, which should, help me at least a little bit. Like, these are my friends who actually like agree with a lot of what I have to say, and it only gives me a slight boost here or there. And I post my videos both on Discord and on Twitter, or Twitter X I call it, because I like the old name of this platform, Twitter, better, but I will add the X onto it because it is named after Elon's son, Xavier, who transitioned to female, and Elon regrets supporting it. And he basically said that his son's basically dead. Not like dead to him, but like his son no longer acts the way he used to, and he's a completely different person now. I mean, after all, he now has a daughter, and a daughter who absolutely despises everything he stands for, even though Elon supported his kid every step of the way. A lot of that stuff just frustrates the hell out of me. Just in general. Like, I used to be like kind of a left-wing guy. Like I said a few times before, I used to consider myself a social democrat, not a democratic socialist. Something like a little bit more mild, like everyone should have like their health care. Everyone should be able to get assistance if they need it. And then over the years, like, was it Milton Friedman? Like, there's a quote I saw from him recently. I'm not going to quote it verbatim, obviously, but he said that after the fall of the Soviet Union, everyone saw that communism failed and that capitalism was successful. And what Western countries got out of the lesson, like the lesson they took out of this whole experience, is what the West needed was more socialism. Which, that actually does seem to be the case. It seems like a lot of countries all across the world saw the Soviet Union collapsed, and then they lamented the fall of communism and wanted to make their countries more socialist. And it's absolutely stupid, like, how that all came about. Like, each and every country has fallen further and further into just stupidity. That's just stupidity. Like, we're all immigrants to America. Like, every single person here immigrated here at some point or another. Humans are not natural to North America. We all came from around the area of Ethiopia or further south. And thousands upon thousands of years ago, during the Ice Age, the northern sea between Alaska and Russia was frozen over, and that allowed people to come here and settle. And some people also came here maybe from the Pacific Islands, unlikely, but slightly possible. We haven't seen much evidence for it. China keeps trying to claim that the settlers in America came from China, which is definitely not the case. And then there may have been a few settlers that came here from, like, Scandinavia, before Scandinavia was Scandinavia, which is also possible, but the majority of natives came from Russia long before the creation of countries even happened, long before the rise of civilization itself, when random tribes just wandered the world looking for nice places to settle down in, to explore. And then everyone else who came here afterwards came here from mostly Europe and Africa, some from Asia, all over the world. And all of us, we became Americans. We support America. Like, our culture is distinctly American. It's a mixture of a bunch of different stuff, but we built our own culture. We were affected by the way that we interacted with other peoples, how we interacted with ourselves, and how our own history came about. Like, American culture is nothing to sneeze at. It is a very distinct culture, completely different from any others in the world, I would personally say. And it's a very good culture as well. But when you bring in people here who do not want to integrate with that culture, who do not respect that our culture, who do not love our country, who do not love our people, who in fact hate our culture, who hate our people, who hate our country, and will do anything to siphon all resources out of it to send back home to their families, who are just net drains on our society, on our taxes. Why are we allowing that? Why are we supporting that? Like, these people absolutely despise everything there is about us, from the way we talk, from the way we walk, to the way we work, everything. They hate everything about us. And it's not every single immigrant, but when your first act into coming into this country is to break the law by coming in here illegally, or by setting up some kind of scam or fraud scheme to defraud the United States government out of taxpayer money, raising taxes for the rest of us. Like, why do we allow this crap to happen? And the majority of the time, it's because some Republican or some Democrat, and actually 90% of the time it seems to be Democrats, are taking money on the back end. Like, taking some of the government funds that are given to these populations and shuffling it into their own campaigns, into their own bank accounts, to their friends and their family. And then they say, oh, it's racist to talk against these people, while they like pocket millions of dollars into their pockets. And then just a bunch of sheep that don't know any better, who don't care, just start frickin' voting the way that those politicians tell them to vote. Like, they just believe whatever they're told. Again, like sheep. And again, I'm not a fan of Anne Ryan. I think Anne Ryan was an extremist in many ways. And like, her fate was a very ironic one. She hated anything having to do with government assistance or having health care or anything like that. And in the end of her life, she was broke, she had cancer, and she had to survive off of government assistance. I just think, like, she was a little bit too far into trusting the free market. Now, would her perfect society end up like something like Rapture from BioShock? Probably never anything that extreme, but unregulated mega corporations is not the solution to all our problems. That is an entirely different hell. There has to be some kind of balance in the world, in our government. But I still kind of like the idea that she talks about the sheep. Like, the people who really just get herded wherever they are told to go. Do whatever they are told to do. Vote for whoever they're told to vote for. Like, just don't understand how the world works and don't try to do their own research and figure things out on their own. It's frustrating. It really is frustrating. Like, I'm on a dating app right now, and you know, I talk to a bunch of people, but I'm in an area where there's a lot of like black people, and like I love talking to these people. A lot of them are pretty hot. Honestly, I don't care what your race is. I'm just looking for somebody to date, right? And you have to keep in some statistics. Now, lies, slander, and statistics still applies, but when you look at the numbers, like of what percentage of voters voted one way or the other during the last election, it was like 13% of black people voted for Trump. That was 13% of black voters, of people who actually voted. If there was an eligible voter who didn't vote at all, obviously they weren't part of that number. And there was low black turnout, but I mean, if you compared like the amount of black voters compared to like 1980, then there was way more black voters in 2024 than 1980, obviously. But as I'm saying, I'm talking to like a lot of black chicks again, and one of them asked me like about my politics, and I asked like, okay, what do you want to know about my politics? And she just said Trump. I'm like, oh God, okay, what's this gonna be? I knew what it was gonna be about. And she was like, so I asked her, what exactly about Trump do you care about? And she's like, well, I don't care who you voted for, but if you voted for Trump, then I don't think we should see each other because I'm a black woman. And I'm just like... So I looked it up because I'd seen the numbers before. Now, the black population had a lower turnout than in 2016 and 2020. Now, as a percentage of voters, I would have to check and see like how many like black voters there were altogether for the various elections going back to 1980. But if you actually look at the breakdown of each race by how the demographics voted, like Trump got 13% of the black vote. And you didn't see everyone before that, every Republican going back to 1984 had a lower percentage of the black vote. Only Ronald Reagan got a high percentage of the black vote, which was 14%, which is still ridiculous. That's absolutely insane how that population votes. It don't make any sense, honestly, because the Republican Party was specifically founded to free black slaves, to end slavery. And no matter how many people try to say it, the parties never switched. That is a fantasy. That is not the reality. There were other reasons why the black population eventually started to vote for Democrats. And that was specifically because there were government organizations, government programs aimed specifically on making the black population dependent on a government paycheck by splitting up the black families to create enough single mothers where the single mothers had to rely on government benefits in order to feed their families. And those programs were set up by the Democrats to, one, break up the families, and then two, create the programs that would make sure that those families could survive and would have to vote for Democrats because Republicans were not willing to just give out free money to people who made bad decisions in their life. Now, again, wasn't entirely the black population's fault, but again, it has to do with like people not doing their own research. Like it took the first black senator was voted in by the Republicans, and then the first Democrat senator didn't come until 150 years later. Like the Republicans, for over a century and a half, cared way more about the black voter than Democrats ever had. And it's only until the last few decades, the last like 50, 60 years or so, where Democrats give any kind of a crap about the black voter. And you have to keep in mind that in the South was run by Democrats who were trying to oppress black people as much as possible up until like the 1990s. That was Democrats. That never changed. Democrats still think black people are too stupid to get into college without having like government assistance to frickin' lower the standards for their race specifically, which is a fucking disgusting idea, honestly. It's stupid. It is stupid. So I'm telling this girl, it's like, look, Trump got a higher percentage of minority votes since any candidate, any Republican candidate, since 1980. And this girl is like, her profile says she's 21, which is probably like too immature for me specifically. Like I mean, after all, her statement was so ignorant. And as I get older, I'm in like my lower 30s at this point. Like anyone who is like outside of 5 years, like if there's someone who's like 5 years younger than me, those people are usually too immature to like be a serious consideration for me because they just don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. And it's so dumb. It's sad to see like such ignorant people just be taken advantage of like that. I mean, I've been taken advantage of many times, and I feel for that. And it's like just stupid. So, if you're not aware, again, 13% of the black vote went for Trump. And it was like 9% of black women and like 15% of black men. And the joke is that black women will shame and berate and bully black men into voting Democrat. I don't know how true that is, but I'm sure there's some truth to it. But black men definitely stopped caring as much and started to, actually change how they vote. And there's a lot of black conservatives out there who have become very popular on YouTube, like Anthony Brian Logan, Officer Tatum, Black Conservative Perspective, Black Conservative Patriot, if he's still around anywhere. And there's other black YouTubers who are starting to realize what kind of BS is going on in the world. And, I would say Shady Do-Rags is kind of a conservative guy. He believes in the nuclear family and stuff like that. Then Ruin Leon gets really sick of leftist BS, as does Night Talks. So people are definitely waking up more and more, but again, when 80% of my potential matches on a dating website is black women, and I'm a super conservative guy, it doesn't help my chances very much, you know what I mean? And it doesn't help that YouTube is kind of, I don't know if YouTube is censoring me or just not promoting me. I'm not sure what, but it's been a frustrating ride, that's for sure, in many cases. But, I'm still kind of hopeful. I'm still kind of naive and optimistic, so we'll keep making videos and see how things turn out. So I guess I'll call this a wrap up for the weekend and get back into just regular, calmer videos where I plan it out a little bit better, and just a little bit of a history lesson and a little bit of a rant about, just society in general, I guess. Just how things have gotten so dumb, so divided, and how it doesn't make any sense. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'll see you tomorrow or whenever I see you. Bye.